Sunday night once I get here. Or it can be a mither before I get here, my head's in the shower and I'm rushing and mithering and everything's got to be done. But when I come here and I sit and I listen to the passage and I listen to the message, it never ever fails to give me something, and I just love it. And over the past few weeks we've been having a number of messages on a theme. For me it started with Jean's, where she spoke about getting it right with us. That God is not going to increase our numbers until we got it right with us. And I don't know if it was Take that service, but if it was and you weren't here, listen to it, because it will blow you away. It just brought me to a point of being on my knees, that we have to get it right with ourselves. And it started to move on from that. It was like God was, shaking us up and saying, right, come on, my holy bride, time for business. And from that passage, it moved on. And Doug mentioned about building, and John mentioned it about last week, about building the walls. And I would like to go back to basics, okay? All that we're doing is important, and I believe very strongly that God's voice is being heard in this place, and He's moving us and shaping us and getting us ready for what is to come. Have you got a favourite book? Well, my favourite book when I was little, I must have read it about 5 or 6 times, was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And I adored Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and I would read it really, I still read books really slowly now, because I enjoy them so much, I don't want to get to the end. And I've got favourite books that I read every year, at the same time. October's coming up, what will come out? Wuthering Heights. Always my winter special, Wuthering Heights. And there's one bit in it that I read over and over again, and I cry every time I read it. But it's Wuthering Heights season, early nights in Wuthering Heights. Well, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was my favourite book because good triumphed over evil. The meek inherited the chocolate factory. So we're just going to have a little look for a moment at why I love Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Have you ever seen a single person going into that factory?
There must be people working there.
The only thing that comes out of that place is the candy. I'd give anything in the world just to go in that amazing factory.
Dear people of the world, I, Willy Wonka, have decided to allow 5 children to visit my factory.
5 golden tickets have been hidden underneath the wrapping paper at 5 ordinary Wonka bars.
Wouldn't it be something, Charlie, to open a bar of candy and find a golden ticket?
I'd only get 1 bar here.
Nothing's impossible.
You found Wonka's last golden ticket.
From director Tim Burton.
Please enter.
Who are you?
He's Willy Wonka.
I thought know that.
I don't care.
I don't actually know. I left your chocolate.
I can see that.
I'm very result. Daddy, I want another pony.
You're my TV.
Die!
Okay.
Enzu, well, you're just lucky to be here, aren't you?
Welcome to the factory.
Warner Brothers invites you to enter a whole new world. Unlike anything you've ever imagined.
It's beautiful.
Where dreams are your reality.
Look at that.
They're up Olympus.
Back off, you little freaks.
I do say that all seemed rather rehearsed.
You're really weird.
And Willy Wonka,
What's Buggy?
is your guide.
Ew.
This year, 5 lucky kids will follow in his footsteps.
I want a squirrel.
Don't touch that squirrel's nuts.
Why is everything here completely pointless?
But only one
Candy doesn't have to have a point. That's why it's candy.
will find his heart.
Oh, God.
deck. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Wow, Johnny Depp on a Sunday night. Now, if you'd have watched one bit of that, all the children stand outside and one of the girls is looking and her mum, Violet's mum, says, keep your eyes on the prize, Violet, your eyes on the prize. And this is what we're going to talk about tonight. Keeping your eyes on the prize. Our passage tonight is from Luke chapter 12, verses 22 to 34.
This is what?
22, please.
Keep going.
To 34. Lovely. Then Jesus said to his disciples, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. Life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Consider the ravens. They do not sow or reap. They have no storeroom or barn, yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable you are than birds. Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to his life? Since you cannot do this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest? Consider how the lilies grow. They do not labour or spin, yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendour was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is more here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? And do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink. Do not worry about it. For the pagan world runs after all such things, and your Father knows that they need them. But seek his kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will not be exhausted, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart is also. The passage before this, if we'd have read it, is very, very interesting. It's about two brothers fighting over their inheritance. And Jesus is just the best storyteller and the best person I've ever heard or read about that links things together. So one minute he's talking to a crowd of people about a person's inheritance, and with a twinkling of an eye he can turn the whole conversation, and suddenly this is directed just to the disciples now that he's speaking to, and he can take a story and make it into a truth about the kingdom. This is what Jesus has done. He takes this theme now about an inheritance and he teaches the disciples the truth about what the kingdom of God is like. Powerful words. Do not worry. Wow. One of the transcriptions says, who of you can add a cubit to his height? Do you know what a cubic is? I looked it up for you. It's a measurement from the fingertip to the elbow. So you imagine with all the worrying I do, if I could just add this much onto my height, I won't be half as fat as I am now. With all the worrying that I'm doing. And it just shows you that all this means nothing. And I know when you are worrying about things, and I know when everything is on top of you, it's so trite for somebody to say, do not worry. And so what I want to show you is God's answers to those worries, rather than just me saying, do not worry. Powerful, powerful words. And I feel God is saying to us as people, do not worry, but also as a fellowship over Kent Street, don't worry. He cares for everybody. He cares for everything. You know the ravens that he mentioned in this are actually, to the Jews, unclean birds. And what he's saying to them is, if I care for something that is unclean and shouldn't even be touched, and yet I'm prepared to give it food every day and water every day, how much more am I going to care for you? my treasured possession, the apple of my eye, the people who I love. So if God is asking us not to worry and to keep our eye on the prize, what is the prize? What is it that he wants us to keep our eyes on? Well, it's simple. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be given to you. That is what we need to be doing. That's where we need to be getting it right. Seeking first the kingdom of God in everything that we do. God, what do you want me to do about this? God, what is your way in this? His ways are not our ways. The Tyndale commentary, I'm not very wordy, and so I've been pinching bits of people who are. And I found a very good description in the Tyndale commentary. It says, the kingdom of God is this: producing in our lives conduct appropriate to those who have accepted the rule of God. Wow. Producing in our lives conduct appropriate to those who have accepted the rule of God. If God is living in our lives, we have the kingdom power within us now. And we need to be living our lives appropriately to that and being his pure bride. That's what he says of his church and his people. You are my bride. You know, and that's how much he loves us, and that's what we should be aspiring to become. And that's what Jean's word was telling us about, getting it right with us. The book stops here. When I was learning about the kingdom, I started to go in the back of the Bible and read through the commentary about kingdoms, and I came across a passage that I really, really struggled with, so I'm going to read it to you. It was Matthew chapter 20, verses 1 to 16. And it says this: For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire men to work in his vineyard. Don't forget, we're talking about the kingdom of God now. He agreed to pay these workmen a denarii for the day and sent them into the vineyard. About the third hour, he went out and saw others standing in the marketplace doing nothing, and he told them, You also go and work in my vineyard, and I will pay you whatever is right. So they went. He went out again about the 6th hour and the 9th hour and did the same thing. About the 11th hour, he went out and found still others standing around, and he asked them, Why have you been standing here all day long doing nothing? Because no one's hired us, they answered. He said to them, You also go and work in my vineyard. And when evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to the foreman, Call the workmen and pay them their wages, beginning with the last ones hired and going to the first. The workers who were hired about the 11th hour came, and each received a denarii. So when those came who were hired first, they expected to receive more, but each one of them also received a denarii. And when they received it, they began to grumble against the landowner. The men who were hired last worked only 1 hour, they said, and you have made them equal to us, who have borne the burden of the work and the heat of the day. But he answered one of them, Friend, I'm not being unfair to you. Didn't you agree to work for a denarii? Take your pay and go. I want to give the man who was hired last the same as I gave you. Don't I have the right to do what I want with my own money? Or are you envious because I am generous? So the last will be first,